Hey guys, time to talk about chapter 2, and I'm just going to dive right in so I don't take forever introducing this video. You know what the video is about. So the first thing I stuck out to me was just how she was talking about everybody's different perceptions of God, and that's so true. I definitely have experienced that myself, and I've been wrong in my perception of God too, you know. So I just thought that was really interesting. And wanted to challenge you guys just to ask, you know, do you fall into the category of having the wrong perception of God, or do you have the right perception of God? And just to spend some time there really evaluating and examining your heart and going to the scriptures to give yourself the correct perception of God, allowing the truth to renew your mind and to erase all the wrongly taught ideas and thoughts and things that we've just come up with ourselves or developed on our own throughout our life, and cover and erase and push all that nonsense out of our minds and cover it with the truth as you are in the Word, and allowing it to renew your mind. So that was really interesting to me, and I've experienced that myself. I've had wrong perceptions of many things and wrong theology and doctrine. And throughout the years, being under good teaching and being in the Word and truly seeking the Lord and truth, not just what makes me feel good or what I like, has really shown to renew my mind and push and erase all those wrong teachings out of my mind. And just I wrote down the right perception of God, that He is sovereign, that He is just, that He's loving. He's a loving ruler of everything. That is the correct perception of the Lord. And our view of life should be God-centered. That sticks out to me because it's just interesting how, you know, people live their lives. And I was just talking to my husband about this morning. Like, as we minister to non-believers and we get a glimpse into their lives, we realize more and more that's the norm. Like, the norm is that people are scared, they're anxious, they're lonely, they're unhappy, they have no joy. That is the norm. That's the world. We are the abnormal ones. My husband was telling me, like, our life is not normal. It is not normal that I go to work unto the Lord, come home to a wife that loves and respects me and has managed the home, raising my children in a godly way, that we have peace and harmony, that we resolve conflict with the heart of reconciliation, not with the heart of I want to be right and I want to win this argument, and that we desire peace and harmony in our home. That's not normal. And just living in sacrifice for one another, because ultimately we're living to please God and to obey God. So we're not normal, and that's heartbreaking. I want everyone to have peace and joy and their life to be God-centered, and that's the difference between Christians and non-believers. And so if you're a Christian and your life is not God-centered, there is some great adjustments to be made. And she says it, you know, as we dive in through this journey, how we can renew our minds and get a correct perception of God, and that will bring you closer to having a more God-centered life. And just how that the right perception of God is foundational to understand our role as a wife. If we don't have the right perception of God, then we're not going to have a good understanding of what our role is as a wife. Then on page 10, I could have made a comment about all of these things. I want to encourage you guys to make sure that you don't just skip over the scripture, the passages, read them. Her words are wonderful and practical and good, but God's words are alive, and they have the power to renew your mind, to change your heart, to give you the truth and ammunition to fight against the lies of the enemy. So don't skip over the Bible verses. Read them. So yes, number 1 is so awesome to me, because you hear people all the time like, what's my purpose in life? What's my ministry? I want to do something for God. Okay, be a wife and be a mother the way that the Lord calls you to be in His Word, and that is your ministry in life. That is so amazing. God's given us a ministry. Let's live it out. Oh, it's not the one you wanted? Well, too bad. You know, do it the way the Lord instructs you to, and it's not the one you wanted, the Lord can show you in his word why it is a high calling and why it is a wonderful ministry. And then I just put like 2 through 4 through these bullet points under what wives need to know about God. They speak to so many different situations. There's so many ways to apply these truths. So read through those and just apply them where they fit in your life. Really good stuff. And then number 5, I was just talking about myself here, which as I was writing this, I was like, should I even talk about this? I don't want to talk about myself. But just how the Lord has truly given me a genuine joy and feel of fulfillment. I don't battle the feeling, why am I doing this? My work is so whatever. I think that when we start to feel that way as a stay-at-home wife or as a wife or a mother, that role, we're forgetting God's truth that it is a high calling, and we're believing the world's ridiculous lies that you're not doing anything with your life. I do feel very accomplished with my job, because I know that what I do for my husband is take loads and loads and loads off of his shoulders. He is free to come home and enjoy his home and his family because of everything that I do. And I'm doing it to honor the Lord and to God's glory. So if you look at it that way, and if you're truly striving to live a selfless life that is to put others before you, it is very fulfilling, because that's what you're doing all day, putting your husband's needs and your children's needs before your own, and then just the part about work, our attitudes, like having joy while we work. I definitely have to check my attitude sometimes. Sometimes I'll catch myself like, oh, now I have to do this. Oh, now I have to do that. And I'm like, wait a minute. Right now, this is work that I can be doing to glorify and honor the Lord, and look at my attitude in it. So I'll stop. I will pray, and I will ask God to give me genuine joy as I carry out these tasks that are such a blessing to my home and to my family. And if I don't have the right attitude, if I don't have the joy, if I'm just doing the action, I'm not glorifying God at all. Anybody can just do the action. Anybody can clean a kitchen with a sour attitude. I want to clean a kitchen with a joyful heart, and that is what's pleasing to the Lord. So that's really just something to think about. Then on page 12, when it talks about what wives need to know about their works and themselves, 1, motive and attitude, our heart's motive and attitude. I kind of said what I meant to say there already. And then number 2, eternal value to what we're doing. Our job has eternal worth. That is huge to me, because anything you do in life, you can do it to honor and to glorify the Lord, of course. And anything you do in life, you're living out the gospel before the people watching you at your job, all of that. But we are like in a mission field at our home. Like, we have non-believing children and we are living out the gospel for them every day. And just the way that we minister to our husbands, this job is not just doing something that's going to pass away with the earth at the end of time. This is of eternal value, and that makes me just so inspired, because that's what my heart is all about, is heaven. Not now, not this temporary earth, and then 3 through 5, I kind of summed it up as all of those really being self-centered, and ourselves being our idol. Fear is a manifestation of selfishness and pride, and just the temptation and the struggle that we have to be centered, focused on ourselves and how we feel and what we want and how we think things should be, instead of God. So I just summed those up to not go too deep into them, but I would love to hear your thoughts. And the next one, the next section about God's protective authority. I've been asked before about if your husband asks you to sin, if it's okay, and she goes into that right there. Of course it's not okay. If your husband asks you to sin, you are completely free to obey God and not him. So the Lord is head, and then our husbands, and then us. So we are safe in that. God is the ultimate authority. And people always say this, like, submission is God's protection over us. And the reason why it's so safe is because we're obeying God and his design of a marriage, and we're always safer when we're obeying God than when we're disobeying God. So if you're not submitting to your husband and you're not respecting your husband, you're not just, trying to have your rights and do what you want and be free, a free woman. You are literally disobeying God. So that's not a very safe place to be, living in disobedience. So definitely obey God. And then why does a wife need protection? I mean, I think that if we deny that we are influenced by the world and the world's worldviews and the world's mentality, and that we are easily deceived, then we are lying to ourselves. We are influenced by the world. All of us are. And we are easily deceived. Eve was deceived, and she persuaded Adam, but she was deceived first. And so that's why we need protection. We need protection. I didn't put too much here, but I do believe very much that being a worker at home keeps us so safe from the influences and the lies and the things that would be paraded in front of us if we were out in the world every day. I know that not all wives stay at home. And so for those of you who don't, just put on your armor every single morning. Be ready to fight against the world's lies, telling you what you need to have, telling you how you need to be, telling you how you need to look, telling you how you need to think. You cling to the word and God's truth, and let that be what guides your life, because this world is going to lead you far, far away from God's truth. And I truly believe that being at home protects us in so many ways from the influences of this world. Of course, you need to take additional precautions. And now, in this day and age with the media and with the internet and stuff like that, just flood your mind and expose yourself to things that are going to edify you, not the opposite. And if you see things influencing you in a wrong way, get rid of them. And then, of course, we need protection from the enemy. And so we need to be in the word, and we need protection from just the deception of this world, which I think you should take precautions and make sure you eliminate things from your life that tell you lies, that make you think you have to be or act or look a certain way, that your home needs to be a certain way, that your marriage needs to be a certain way, that your parenting needs to be a certain way. The only way any of that needs to be is the way God says it needs to be. So feed yourself the truth. And then I just underlined a million times in the last paragraph, these verses in no way mean that women are less valuable or less intelligent than men. In fact, the Bible assumes women's intelligence when it instructs the older women to teach the younger women. People love to be like, what? So then men are better? No. We are the weaker vessel, though. So in what ways are we weaker? Probably in these ways, that we are easily deceived, that we can, believe many lies, and we need to equip ourselves to fight against those lies. And the word is the only thing that will do that. And then a truly wise woman will accept this and appreciate it and submit graciously to God's plan of protection for her. This isn't man's words. These are God's words. And God is saying that we are deceived. God is saying that we need protection from Satan and from the world's influences. So don't fight it. Just submit to it graciously. Be wise. Want to be teachable. Want to obey and believe God's word. Don't fight against it. And if you have a hostile spirit towards that truth, that's okay. She started like that. Remember, she threw the Bible and yelled at her friends. The Lord changes hearts. And that's why we're doing this. If you want to have a soft attitude towards that and believe that, God can do that. So pray to that end. I'm excited to hear what you guys thought of this chapter.